here, Dad.
We are still here. You never left. We are still here. You never left.
All right, sorry about that, everyone. We had a few technical issues, but we are live with The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, or we are about to be. I am going to jump in to a... Why isn't my chat working? Right, sorry about that, everyone. We had a few technical issues, but we are live with The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, or we are about... I don't know what the hell that echo was, or we're about to be. My chat's not working for some reason. There we go. All right, we're going to join our good friend Robert in Discord. What is up?
Hello there.
What's up? How's it going? You ready to play some... There we go. Last of Us?
I am ready to watch you play some Last of Us, yes. And judge you.
You should. We're gonna spice things up a little bit, Robert.
How so?
So, I'm not gonna play this on a hard difficulty because I want to actually get through it. Where is it? However, we're gonna play this on normal with a permadeath mode. So if I die, I have to restart the whole chapter.
Oh no. Well, I guess the chapter is better than the whole game.
Yeah, I'm not doing the whole game because I want to actually get a playthrough up on the channel. I know there's different permadeath modes, so I'm gonna look and see what we have. So there we'll be tinkering with the settings for a second.
Sounds good. So is this your first time playing the remaster or
I have booted it up long. I have booted it up long enough to get to port over my save to get the trophy. With the plat.
Gotcha.
So we're not going to be doing New Game Plus as well, since this is for the channel. This is going to be a fresh start from the beginning. So we need to go to options. So I don't know if some of this is going to come through on the stream that you were watching. But one of the cool things about this is it'll render it out at native 4K for me. And because I have an advanced TV, I can play it at a higher frame rate. So it'll look better without sacrificing too many frames. What's up, Dave? Do we just okay? New game. We're gonna do moderate. We're gonna do permadeath. Okay, I'm gonna let you choose, Robert. Should we do per act, which we can lose approximately 2 to 5 hours of game time, or per chapter, which is only about an hour-ish?
I would do chapter, but it's up to you.
Okay, we'll do chapter, because I do want this to be something people can watch, and I'm confident in my abilities, but not that confident. I'm sorry to hear that, Dave. We're not gonna do a speedrun thing.
I am pretty good at these games, but I die a lot. Lots of trial and error.
Yeah. I actually do want to try to get all of the trophies for this game because they added some DLC trophies.
Oh, nice.
So this is my excuse to do a permadeath run. And I'm slightly confident in my abilities. What have you been playing, Dave? What's up?
One thing that I wanted in the base game of the second one that I don't recall ever actually mentioning, but just as a tiny little bonus thing, I was like, oh, it'd be cool if they had just a mini game for playing the guitar. And I guess they've added that to this version. Have you tinkered with that at all?
The only thing I've done is booted it up to import the save.
Okay. Because I don't know if like the game you can unlock like different songs or if you have to do it entirely on your own. But I think that's just a really cool, nice little extra thing they've added where you can just play a character whenever and just mess with, because the guitar gimmick's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to mess around with that a little bit.
Maybe I just want to do.
I'll have to turn the subtitles on after this.
I was just about to ask about that.
I thought I did, but I don't want to pause the cinematic.
Yeah.
Because of her.
How does it look on your end?
It looks pretty good. I have a pretty old TV, so it's not a great way to judge it, but the definition's like solid, at least on my end.
Sweet Jesus.
Doctor, what are you doing?
Wait, that's not how that happened.
This is our future. Think of all the lives we'll save.
I mowed them all down without a second of hesitation.
Jesus Christ, Joe.
No, they do reframe the operating room a little bit to make Joel seem worse than it is when you're playing as him. And I kind of like that it's kind of an unreliable narrator.
Right. They're still smart to keep the actual death off screen so it can kind of fit. The only way it wouldn't line up is if you blasted them all with a flamethrower. Then this doesn't match up at all.
I've done that before. It was really funny.
I got you. I got you.
Cover the exit. Don't let him get away.
But yeah, when I first played this, I think I just shot the doctor, the surgeon, but I spared the others. That's not
You
true.
shot the
On
deputy but didn't shoot the sheriff?
No, that's not true. On first playthrough, I definitely shot everybody because I didn't know you could spare them. And I thought, well, they're probably going to attack me, so I'll kill them.
That's a lot.
I didn't know you could spare the nurses.
What does Ellie know?
But what I consider the canon version of the game scene is Joel slowly approaching
I told her.
the surgeon approaching you
Her immunity.
and then grabbing the scalpel and shoving it in his neck. That's what I consider like the canon game version of his death.
And she believed you?
Huh?
In the show, it's Joel shooting him in the head, but it's still played ambiguously enough, like self-defense, since we at least do see him pick up the scalpel and walk toward him. So it's brutal and very cold when Joel shoots him in the show, but you could still at least interpret that as some type of self-defense.
Also, I meant to ask you before, but I kind of just had to jump into it. I just made you a mod in our YouTube chat, so because I know how that people in this game can get. So just keep an eye on the chat if you wouldn't mind. If there's anything too wild, you're free to ban them. I will support your decision.
Okay, people get testy about this game. That's for sure.
They do. I actually used to mod for a streamer friend of mine, and I had to work some overtime when they were playing this game.
Yeah. People.
Oh man. All right. We're gonna
people
turn on subtitles. You know, one thing Naughty Dog does not get enough credit for is how easy to use their menus are. Do you know how hard it is to find subtitles in some games?
Oh, right. It's weird. Like, the vast majority of video games I play with subtitles. I don't know why. It's just instinct or what I'm comfortable with.
I do everything with subtitles.
Yeah. But with movies and shows, I hardly ever do.
Oh.
And sometimes I regret it, because a lot of more modern shows, with a lot of different things going on with sound, there will be some dialogue where I'm like, I don't understand what they just said.
So I know this is remastered for the PS5, but like, even on the PS4, it is insane how good this game looks.
Oh yeah, it looked incredible.
Naughty Dog are wizards.
I was really blessed because a friend of mine has his family has a mini home theater, and I got Last of Us 2 before he did, but he wanted to borrow it and play it on his PlayStation 4. So I got to watch him play the first couple hours of it in their mini home theater, and like, it looks so good on a projector and like really big.
So for reference, I have this streaming to my computer to stream, but I am actually looking at my TV, and I have a 55-inch LG OLED.
Nice.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, and this opening sequence is just beautiful.
Yeah.
The music is fantastic.
And I think this is a smart way to open it up to kind of slowly ease you into what I think is otherwise one of the darkest games I've ever played.
Oh yeah, it's messed up. And we're gonna be fully transparent about spoilers, right? We're not gonna assume that this is anyone's like first experience with the game.
My
Do you wanna give that warning?
yeah. So I guess I'll say now, this game is 4 years old. If you don't know anything about it now, you shouldn't even be in the stream. We're not gonna worry about spoilers.
Because one thing people have talked about with this game kind of after the fact is just the fact that this is your only place where you really get to play as Joel, and it's the first person you play as. And the first person you play as in the first game was Sarah, which means in both games, the first character the player plays as dies early on. If they make a third game, I don't know if they'll continue that. That might just be a coincidence, but it's something that some people have pointed out.
You know, I never even thought about it, but there's some truth to that. Third game starts and you start as Ellie. Wait, no.
Exactly. Which is, obviously, I get why it's a big swing. Not everyone's going to be happy about it. We'll discuss it more in depth later, but having Joel die early on, I get it, why that would upset some people and why you don't like this game for various reasons. I don't understand why people were so angry about it or surprised, especially when you see reactions like, oh, I can't believe this game got so emotional and dark early on. I'm like, did you play the first one?
There's this weird meta narrative that Joel needed to die a hero's death. But A,
yeah,
he's not a hero in the first game. The game goes out of its way to tell you this. And B, this isn't a fantasy like action game. This is a gritty survival adventure game. People don't go out in heroic ways in a universe like this. They die in painful, nasty, messy ways.
Yes. Like, Sarah's death is just unfair and cruel. And obviously there are different things. Like Sarah, you don't spend that much time with. It's just a thing to get the plot rolling. So you don't spend that much time with her when she dies. Whereas Joel, we spent a whole game with, so obviously it's a lot more emotionally devastating. But that's all the more reason why it should be Joel instead of like Dina, which the trailers let us believe. Because if you kill Dina early on and that's what the revenge quest starts from, it's like, okay, that's emotional. I'm invested in Ellie, but it's not even half the gut punch that it is with Joel. You wouldn't feel the visceral rage that Ellie feels.
And like, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me personally, in a medium like this, gaming is my primary form of entertainment. I play more games than I watch movies, read books, anything. It gets stale when you have all these franchises where you know nothing can happen to the lead character. So in a way, as much as it hurts, it's also refreshing. It's like, no, anything can happen in this. Once you've killed Joel, all bets are off.
Right. And okay, so this sucks. Like the day after this game came out, I'm scrolling through YouTube on my phone. One of the first video recommendations I see is the title is just Joel's death, and it's a thumbnail of the headstone.
Oh, man.
And I was like, well, shit, now I know that's happening.
Well, so the biggest thing that hurt this game that we should talk about, I guess, up front is those leaks. Because everyone made up their minds before this game even came out. And I bet you half of the people that were online, keyboard warrior, didn't even play the game.
Absolutely. And there are spoilers in those leaks where, out of context, I understand them making you angry or whatever, but you should still give the piece a chance as a whole before you make up your mind.
Yes, Jake, we are playing this on a permadeath setting. So if I die, I have to start the whole chapter over again.
I want to show you something. Just give me 1 second.
And I think for me, going into this game, though, it wasn't until I was playing it, even though when I started playing it, I had assumed, okay, Joel's going to die, but that'll probably be late into the game. It wasn't until an hour or two into playing it where it suddenly hit me like, oh, this is going to happen early. And that did surprise me.
Hang on.
Like, I could feel it coming when it was getting there, but I was still like, oh, I'm surprised this is happening so early. And there were definitely things I was concerned about or I didn't know how to feel about, but I had to get through a lot of it before I made up my mind on certain things. Like, there's 2 points with Abby's story. One is Joel has crossed a lot of people in 20 years. This was going to happen.
Trust in you.
from someone at some point, probably. But specifically as a sequel to that first game, you're still like, okay, if Abby's not a Firefly, I don't think I like this. I still don't think this is justified. So you got to get there. But yeah, her motivation and backstory makes sense. You just got to be patient.
Hello, game. My touchpad's not working. What the fuck?
Is that your only controller? Can you switch it with another one?
Yeah, I wonder if it's. Is it because it's connected to my computer? I don't know. Hold on. Hang on, chat. We're having more technical difficulties because apparently. Jake says if Abby didn't do it, I would. No, you wouldn't. All right, we are trying a different controller. Well, that's
Is there a setting?
unfortunate.
Is there a setting in the controller settings to turn the touchpad on or off?
Customize controls. Oh, you know what? Confirm the number on the keypad. Set control schemes. That's weird. I've never had that problem before.
Yeah, on my TV, I'm several seconds behind you.
Death, you crazy? I am crazy, yeah. I wonder. So we're working on it. Settings.
Do you want me to ramble for a minute, like while you're figuring this out?
Feel free.
I think for me, not to say I was happy about Joel's death to any extent, but after the first game, like, as a character, he's kind of on borrowed time. Like, in that first game, when you fall off that ledge and get stabbed, I think everyone playing that game is like, oh, he's done. And once the game switches to playing as Ellie, I think a lot of us assumed on first playthrough, like, oh, we're Ellie now. Joel is dead or dying. And just the way these stories go, you know he's not going to make it. Like, and I get why for some people, like, oh, I want a self-sacrifice. I want a big heroic way for the character to go out. And that just doesn't happen in these Last of Us games too much. That's not really what the story's about. Like you were saying, people don't generally get to go out on their own terms, and it's very brutal and very sad. And Joel's death is still a result of the choices he made. And I think fixating so much on just the way he goes out kind of undermines or diminishes the stuff that character had done prior to that, like in the 4 years between the two games, where it's like he teaches Ellie how to play the guitar, he teaches her how to swim. Like there are things he promises her in that first game that we see he has kept his promise in this one. Like these are important
I fixed
things. Okay, great. But you know what I mean? Like these are important things he has done, and I think just fixating so much on the specific way he goes out, you're not really seeing the forest through the trees. You're not valuing, I think, the choices he has made, and he's at peace with that. Like that's what the whole point of the end of this game is. He is at, whether you think it's the right decision or not, he is at peace with it. So in a way, like he kind of did. Like we all know he would trade his life for Ellie's in a second.
No, the thematic importance that this song has on this entire game is insane.
Mm-hmm. And we were talking about in our speculation video about how I don't know if they're gonna stick with Future Days, the Pearl Jam song, just because in the context of the show, that song doesn't exist yet. So I'm fine if they keep it, but I'm also fine if they change it to something else. But I do think, to an extent, like any song that appears diegetically in the show, like should exist within the world at that time, probably, though I don't really care. Because diegetic songs are when like the character is singing or listening to music, like it exists within the narrative. Non-diegetic is when we're hearing like film score and songs during the end credits, you know, stuff that just the audience is hearing.
If they end up going with a different song, I would have to hear it.
No, I don't know the first thing about this.
In the context before I would know if I was okay with it or not.
Yeah. And like I said, I think if you played Pearl Jam's Future Days, like just in the end credits of one episode, I think that's a decent compromise because it's the credits, you know, it's not part of the world, it's just for the audience. So it'd be great to include the song in some capacity.
Okay, hang on a second. Zed, what do you mean? Is there some kind of background noise?
Okay.
Do you remember the joke?
I mean, he asked who has a jet.
What is the downside to eating a clock? It's time consuming.
God damn it, Joel.
That's so dumb.
And this scene is just so well acted between the two of them. I have rewatched it countless times. And I know some people are disappointed, like, oh, The Last of Us, it's all Joel and Ellie. I wanted the whole second game to be Joel and Ellie. It's like, this whole game is about that relationship, you know? And you do get the flashbacks, which for me were enough and a relief.
I mean, I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, Jake. You're just wrong about the end of the first game. Joel was absolutely correct for what he did, but it was the wrong thing to do, but the right time. That's
if you
some
want
feedback. What the hell is that? Oh, it's part of the soundtrack. Anyway, yeah, feel free to tell us your thoughts on the ending.
Well, and one thing that I think the show gets right that I think some people miss the point of is just the fact that the Fireflies suck, and they're losing. They're losing badly. And remember, like, these aren't all soldiers or mercenaries. Like, most of them are just people. And at the start of that first game, you know, because we're used to stories like Star Wars, where the rebels are the good guys and they're going to win. And that's just kind of how you view the Fireflies for a lot of that game. But they do suck. Like, they are losing that whole time. So when you get to the end of that, both the game and the show, and just the fact that Joel is able to take so many of them out, like, is it a bit far-fetched? Maybe, but it's important to remember that they're not very good at what they do. And I think where the Fireflies crossed the line was not telling Ellie.
Jake doesn't see the Jake has an issue with Joel's actions more than anything, because he can't comprehend choosing someone you care about over the over all of humanity for a vaccine that may not even work.
Yeah, that's a
So
big
tired.
stretch. That like it's not even a certainty that this will work. And I don't think any parent, any loving parent, anyway,
Sure.
could let that happen. At least without their child's permission. Like, for me, the tragedy of the first game is that if the Fireflies told Ellie, like, hey, we can make a cure, but it's gonna kill you. You're not gonna survive this. Feel free to say if you disagree. I think Ellie would have gone along with it.
I mean, this game pretty much confirms that she would have.
Yeah, and obviously that's a big decision for a 14-year-old to make, and maybe not one that any 14-year-old could possibly be mature to make. But after everything that happened with Riley and that whole experience, like, yeah, she would have gone with it. She
That sucks.
literally says at the end of the first game, like, I'm waiting for my turn.
Vegeta says they confirmed it would have worked. But is that in the game? Because personally, unless it is in the work, I don't count it. Because you can say anything after a piece comes out.
And we've established that the Fireflies are extremely ineffectual at what they do, and I find it hard to believe that they would even been able to spread the cure to that many people, honestly.
Yeah. No, there's just too
Like-
many variables there that it wasn't worth sacrificing somebody's life.
I would strongly disagree with anyone saying, oh, the cure would have saved the world. Like, you really think the Fireflies would have been capable of spreading it that far? When we meet, the first Firefly we meet is Marlene, and she's shot, and
Is this about
asks
Seth?
Joel and Tess to take Ellie because she's
Tell me you never
desperate.
saw me.
Like, the Fireflies suck.
Where's your fucking loyalty?
Excuse me?
But like I said, so back to the
So-
morality of the ending.
We're okay.
I do think if they told Ellie what
You and me?
they were gonna do, she would have gone along with it. And then if Joel still kills everyone and saves Ellie, then Joel's definitely in the wrong.
Ellie.
And I don't know if he wouldn't do that. I really don't know.
Thanks.
He
I don't
definitely
know.
would have considered.
I don't know, Vegeta. I get where you're coming from, but my read on the game is like, that is something the Fireflies think they know, but there's no actual evidence that any of the cures would have worked, and there's no evidence that they could have distributed the... I can't talk today. Distributed the cure to enough people to it make a difference. What if they ran out of cure? How are you going to make more?
Yeah, she'd be dead.
Yeah.
And feel free to correct me if I'm remembering this incorrectly, but when Joel tells Ellie that, like, they've been looking for a cure for a while and have experimented on other people, I don't believe that's entirely a lie. Because if you listen to that full tape from that one Firefly who died, who got bit by the monkey they were experimenting on, like, I believe that information is in the game. I don't remember if there's anything about other immune people like Ellie, but they had been experimenting and trying out things for a while. So, like, that's not entirely a lie.
Yeah, they were working with monkeys to try to find a cure. It's very 28 days later.
Yeah.
Hey. Look. last
And
night
so,
I was-
like I said, I think where the Fireflies screwed up was not
Sure.
telling Ellie that they were, like, that is absolutely
Trying to say I'm
morally the
sorry.
wrong thing to do. I get ends justify the means
Really tells me
and the
that
greater
you're-
good and all that, but not telling a child that you're going to murder them
made you
to
some
make a
sandwiches.
cure, like, that is where they cross a line for me.
Okay.
And then where, in my opinion, Joel crosses a line is not telling Ellie the truth at the very end. Like, I understand him being reluctant to, but once she asks him to swear to her, that's the moment he should tell her the truth.
Yep.
And would she have gone with him to Jackson still? I think so.
What you got there?
I'm not sure
Bacon
how she would have
sandwiches.
taken that, but I think she, like, her saying okay is saying, like, oh,
Yours.
at least my read on it is, okay, I don't believe you, but I'm gonna go along with it.
Okay.
It's just that after 4 years of him sitting on that, and the multiple conversations about it, I think that's what leads to their rift later in this game. And her reaction to the truth is just the fact that it's 4 years later, and he was never going to tell her the truth. That's at least my read on it.
It's a bunch of different things. And we'll get to it when we get further in the game. I mean, that's fair, Vegeta. Like, I have no issues if that's how you choose to perceive the events of the first game. But I think there's more to it than you're giving the game's writing credit for. But I'm happy that that works for you. You know what I mean? I just don't think it's that simple.
Yeah, it's absolutely not. And when they were playtesting this game, like every single person who was a parent who they interviewed or questioned about the ending, like, would you do what Joel did? Like, every single person who was a parent said, yeah, they would. Like, if you're a loving parent, it's hard to believe you'd actually be willing to sacrifice your child. Like, world be damned. Like,
be safe.
So yeah, the game is a love story. It's a dark love story, and is it a toxic relationship? I mean, to an extent, yeah.
Toxic
It's like
relationship for a toxic world.
Yep.
Hey, Dina. Can I talk to you? Hey, guys! I'm tapping out. Come on! How long?
So yeah, in summary, I am totally with Joel doing what he did. It's just there's gonna be consequences with that, and you gotta face the consequences, which is what this whole game is about. I just think Joel screwed up by not telling Ellie the truth, and I think the Fireflies were clearly in the wrong for not telling her, like, oh, we'll just put her to sleep and murder her. Like, that's why, I mean, it's a good scene, but I hate the flashback with Abby and the Fireflies so much, because she's like, well, if it was me, I would do it, and that's what convinces her father, and it's like, yeah, but it ain't you. It's easy to say that in a hypothetical situation. I'm not saying the scene doesn't work, it just pisses me off every time, because it's like, we're talking about a child you didn't tell you were going to murder.
I'm not even playing! Because you're a chicken? You're a chicken! I hate this kid so much. You want to fuck him up?
And here we have Dina, who is by far my favorite new character in this game.
She's wonderful.
Yeah, I might be blanking on the actress's name. I think it's Shannon Woodard. I need to double check that, but she is so good. And I had just seen her in Westworld. She's in the first season of that show. And it took me a while to, like, connect the dots. So I'm like, oh, holy shit, that's that actress. Like, she's a supporting character in Westworld. And I think she did wonderful.
Jake, yes, the show ends the same way. It would have to.
Yes.
Everyone would be up in arms if it changed the ending except you. We are currently snowball fighting.
Yeah.
And I'm winning. Get fucked, kid.
You should be allowed to murder these children.
I agree.
Like, this is where they give you, like, the nail bomb and Molotov cocktail. That'd be amazing. It does make you wonder, just with limitations of weather and filming, how they're going to handle, like, weather in Jackson in Season 2. Because they change it a little in Season 1. Because in the first game, we're still in fall, or, like, early fall when we meet up with Tommy. And in the show, we're already in winter. It's like, I mean, when we're reunited with Tommy. At Jackson.
Okay, hold on. So, when we're reunited with Tommy and Jackson, you mean when we find Tommy, right? The first time?
Yes, it's early fall.
Are you talking about in the game or in the
in the
show?
Game. It's okay when Ellie meets Tommy for the first time.
I guess I asked for that, huh? Yep.
No, yeah, you're right. That is fall. Okay.
Because
I had to like play through it. Yeah, I had to play it through. I hate winter in that game because you get lost every time.
That's funny because that's my favorite section of the game.
It's just the part is when you're playing as Ellie and Dave in the town, and there's like a blizzard going on.
Oh yeah, it's kind of a maze.
I hate playing it. I love it storyline wise.
Thank you.
So in the show, we move up winter a little, like it's already winter when we get to Jackson in the show. And the game, the reason why I brought that up is it just depends on like when they film certain episodes for season 2, and whenever we get to Joel's death, the blizzard's a really big factor in that, and that's kind of a hard thing to work around if it's not winter for that portion of the show. You know what I mean?
You can recontextualize it.
Yeah, it just makes you curious how they're going to play it, because a lot of people who don't like how Joel's death is answered say, oh, like, Joel and Tommy wouldn't do that, it's too contrived, and in my opinion, there are enough outside factors to justify them making that mistake. Like, there is a horde after them, they're in the middle of a blizzard, like, those outside factors to me play a lot in that mistake. And
we'll talk more about his death when we get there.
Yeah,
I also want to mention Jesse. I think he's awesome.
He's a really likable dude.
Come back.
Yeah.
Be smart about it. All right. Get going.
Yeah, and Jesse and Dina have already been cast for the show, so
I
so
saw
far
that.
sticking to it. No major.
It will be nice. One thing I think the show will have an advantage on, if it's going to do like the the flashbacks in this game as a season, is you'll get more of the Ellie and Dinah dynamic, because we're kind of thrown into the end of it, and a lot of what we know about their relationship before this game is mostly dialogue.
And what's fascinating is how the marketing plays into that, because if you recall, one of the first like official gameplay trailers of this game shows the scene of the dance with Ellie and Dina's first kiss and Jesse before the fight breaks out. And they know when you're playing the game, like 99% of the players playing the game have seen that trailer and have already been introduced to these characters in that context. So when you're playing the game, that scene comes way late into it, and it just plays so differently after everything you've been through. Because in the marketing, like, that was our introduction to Jesse. And then in the context of the game, he's already dead by that point. And you're like, oh, fuck.
Do you think it's a mistake to introduce Abby this soon?
I'm so torn on it. I think this stuff works. So I actually wanted to bring this up and see if we might debate it, because I've gone back and forth on it, because I don't really know the workaround. Do you think it was a missed opportunity to not give us, instead of this Abby section, just like a 30 to 45 minute section with Joel and Tommy, and then finding Abby, and then everything? Would you have preferred that, or do you think they made the right call?
I don't think this is bad, but I think it might have been more impactful if we had played as Joel up to his death.
I want to show you something.
So instead of this, you just play as Joel for about 30 to 40 minutes until you get to that scene, and then it switches back to Ellie.
Yeah, it would definitely give you a lot more time to Joel up front.
But I also don't know how hard that would be to program.
Come on, this way.
Well, I would have just basically replaced the sequence with that. And then it's like, oh, there's this character screaming, like, let's go save them, and that's your introduction to Abby, is this stranger that you save, and then everything plays accordingly. I think where they would have run into issues with that is, depending on how you played it, I just find it hard to believe that Joel and Tommy wouldn't be talking about the conversation Joel and Ellie had the prior night, which is the end of the game, and you don't want to spoil that.
Been restless. You too.
You could easily talk that away as, oh, they're on patrol, they're being focused.
Yeah, and you could allude to it. That's just something I'd like to see in the show, that I at least like have always headcanoned, is just that, especially since Tommy's one of the few people who knows the whole story and why Joel and Ellie have their falling out, like, I'm very certain they would have talked about that.
Yes.
At least in the morning.
Going like this.
But you're right, they could have found a way to make it vague.
Not that far.
Yeah.
Hey, is Mel okay?
I think the problem with this prologue with Abby up front is
She'll be fine.
because you have to get all the way to the midpoint in the game to switch perspectives again and then getting Abby's story. If you're gonna play as her up front this early, we should probably be switching back and forth between Abby and Ellie throughout the game. Which I know some people would have preferred.
We can't all be as graceful as you.
I think what they should have done with this remaster is done more of a director's cut,
It's too
and
high.
maybe offered a more linear mode that kind of changes the pacing to see how that works.
That would be interesting, though I think
Stop
they
looking
have an
down.
opportunity to do that with the show, and the game is just structured in terms of gameplay, just the way things escalate
When
and the way items and bosses and stuff work. Like there is an escalation throughout it. Like
how about
it
you
would
put
make
up
it
your
gameplay
ass?
wise very wonky playing it
Stop flirting.
I
chronologically.
mean, it wouldn't be any different than getting uber powered as Ellie and then having to start all over as Abby.
True. It's just like, you know, in my opinion, like the birthday sequence, which is my favorite sequence in the game at the museum, if you're playing that super early on, that's a long sequence with like no action. That granted, I'd probably be fine with doing early on replay, just it definitely wouldn't be how I'd recommend the game to anyone. You know, if they had a chronological option. Like, I just think it would be a lot more disjointed.
Damn, look at that view.
Have you told anyone else?
Wanted you to see it first.
And yeah, the graphics in this game are just incredible.
Saw an armed patrol go from town.
Definitely some of the best I've ever seen. I still predict, and I could be wrong about this, because we have kind of stagnated with graphics just because of how much money and time these take. So probably won't be in a video game, but
Figure it out.
you know, that issue people have with the uncanny valley with motion capture and CGI faces, like
He's in there.
I predict that's there will be something by 2030, probably a movie
Corner one of the
more than a
patrols with
video game,
information
but
and then-
that will have like a CGI person that is like 100% indistinguishable
Yeah.
from a real person.
Sure they'll be.
Where
So
you just, I think we're getting
Well,
there.
then we make them.
there is a new technology in Unreal Engine 5. The Hellblade 2 is going to ship with it.
So what do you want to do?
That is like a new motion capture thing. I've seen it. It looks amazing.
What is going on with
No,
you?
I need to look into that. Because like,
So
if the
we have not
PlayStation-
hit a... Sorry, go ahead.
if the PlayStation 5 isn't capable of it, the PlayStation 6 definitely will be.
Oh.
But I'm not saying that'll be the norm. It'll be very specific games that have a lot of money
Should I
and
say
time.
congrats?
Because that's a
Yeah,
lot
I
of...
actually,
that's a
I think it'll
random.
be the opposite. I think it will normalize more motion capture in the industry. Because Unreal Engine
Oh.
5 is the most common engine in the industry. And if you make that technology affordable to any AAA developer, we're going to see more and more motion capture and probably bigger names in video games.
Oh, I agree with that. I just meant like the ones that look pitch perfect. Like
And then
pure lifelike.
you are right that we have kind of hit a wall with graphics. The next upgrade won't be graphically, like image quality. It will be lighting and rendering of light techniques.
That's a good point.
We've already hit that point on PC, and PS5 can do it, just not as well. But there's a technology called ray tracing that offers real-time lighting, and it's a game changer. And then they just introduced a new technology that's kind of like the next step on that, called path tracing. Unfortunately, I don't have a PC that can run it, and it is years away from being the mainstream. But I've seen like pictures of Cyberpunk with path tracing, and it is like night and day. I think the next true innovation to game graphics will be ray tracing becoming the norm. But right now it is too resource intensive.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe by the PS6 or 7. Is this the way? I also get turned around here, and I don't want to die.
There's a couple of optional paths that lead you to the same area. Yeah, it sucks to die early on when you have to like get through the cutscenes again, unless you're able to skip those.
Now, why would we want to do that?
Although now you just turned around. I think.
Yeah, because we need to go up here.
Yeah, I think you're going backwards.
Am I? Hold on.
Yeah, you are several seconds ahead of me, so any gameplay advice I have might not light up.
No, I'm definitely going the right way.
Okay.
Also, being able to go completely prone is a game changer.
Yes.
He got Mel pregnant.
So I don't know if you have this, but I hate Owen. I think he's a little bitch.
You alive?
I like him well enough. I don't think I've thought about like his whole story strong enough to really. I mean, he definitely makes some mistakes.
I don't know. I feel like they didn't put nearly as much effort into her friends as they do like Ellie's group, and
Sure.
it kind of shows. Like Mel is also unbearable.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a little too close to the face.
And like I said, I don't dislike this prologue with Abby. You know, you get some action early on. It's a good little tutorial. It just feels like if you're gonna do that hard switch in perspective halfway through, where we switch from Ellie to Abby, like, you should go all the way. It is a little awkward having like this mini prologue early on, and then having to wait a long time to play as her.
Well, there's a couple of sections where it feels like they were just kind of throwing things at the wall.
Mm. But, and to be clear, to any like detractors of this game, it's you gotta at least give credit, even if the structure doesn't work to you. Like, my God, painstaking attention to detail with just what happens, like, or throughout the 3 days of Seattle and how they pair. Like, it's insane. Just how many little things there are to keep track of and pay attention to with what Abby and Ellie are doing, like day
Going
1,
up.
day 2, day 3 in Seattle. Like, it is a massive, intricate game.
My shoulder.
Thank God they can't climb. No.
How do I get out of here?
Probably through the door, you dumb fuck. Wait. Did we miss anything here? I feel like there's not a lot of collectibles in this prologue.
Yeah, there's not much.
I don't think so.
Like, they gave you a coin somewhere early on, right?
This is a bad idea, Abby.
I think so. Probably in the next room. I've already gotten all the collectibles, so I'm not.
Like I said, you are several seconds ahead of me.
Yeah,
So
I can see it on OBS. Frickin' lag.
Where's that lookout?
Yeah, so just for anyone who's watching, this is not by any means a completionist run. I've already done that.
like you got all of the cards and coins and stuff.
Yeah, because I've gotten the platinum for this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's just so daunting to me. So, yeah,
I can show you some
get
good
to that
guides.
eventually. Yeah. I think
Bastard.
on my playthrough of the first one, collecting all the comic books, I think I found like 11 of them on my own out of 12. If it was 12, there was like one I missed that I had to look up a gameplay video to find.
Nice. I suck at finding collectibles without a guide.
It's my years of growing up on Lego games that have programmed into me how to look in every corner.
I didn't play a Lego game until
extremely-
I was already I was like 18.
Yeah, those games train you to be extremely thorough.
True. I'm so excited to try that that roguelike mode. The gameplay in this game is so fucking fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm curious who all of the playable characters are. Because I think that's a great idea. That's something I would have liked in the first version of the game, but I'm really glad they added.
So what we
Read it.
might do is we might play this for another hour-ish to see how far we get. And then we might do like a round just to see what's open, because I haven't even opened that menu.
Okay.
And it'd be cool to see like what they have available.
I'm aware that you unlock stuff like through playing the story, like certain characters or outfits or weapons or whatever. I believe you unlock some of that stuff like through going through the story.
So I should have everything unlocked then.
That's true, because it loaded all of your...
Yeah, you can port
Progress,
your
right.
save over.
That's
I
extremely
platinumed-
convenient.
I platinumed this game in 20 seconds. I'm just that good. Don't look at my playtime for the PS4 version.
Yeah, when the Part 1 remake came out, I did agree with the detractors to an extent that $70 is probably too much for that. Like, I don't believe that game added enough to justify costing more than what the first version did, especially since the first version had multiplayer and the remake did not. Like, that should have been 60. I don't think that should have been 70. But with this one, it's extremely nice for players that it's only 10 if you already have the original game. Like, that was really cool.
I think
and
I think
appreciate
the
that.
difference between them is one is built from the ground up. Like they didn't just port over the PS4 assets. They had to make those from scratch. Whereas this is just touching up what was already there.
Yeah, I still just don't believe that Part 1 should have cost more than what that game originally cost. I just don't believe that took more time or money to remake
You'd
than
be
what the original
surprised.
version of the game cost.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
And
like you said,
but I also
never-
think that's more so. Like I know this is probably a hot take in the games industry and like amongst the gaming community, but they probably should have raised prices a long time ago with how expensive these are to make.
True. And obviously, it goes without saying that these programmers are extremely underpaid and overworked, and it's a problem that's getting fixed or needs fixing.
That was a little too close for comfort.
I mean, I know GTA 5 is like one of the best-selling games of all time, and that made what, like billions of dollars?
That made billions of dollars because it's microtransactioned out the ass.
Well, that's true. But I
Um,
still think everyone was gonna buy that game, like without that stuff.
And it's also been released like 6 times. But no, so like I don't necessarily disagree that 70 is a lot of money, but I look at it more as we're lucky that the remaster of The Last of Us didn't cost $70 instead of no, the remake, the ground up remake is cost too much.
That's fair. Like I said, I know you didn't care about the multiplayer, and I never played it. I still stand by that price point is more warranted if they brought the multiplayer. And it really sucks for fans of that multiplayer in hindsight that they didn't include it since the Last of Us multiplayer game has been scrapped.
Mm.
That is unfortunate. We'll see if they include it with the third game, if they make one. But I'm with you, where, look, if it has to be one thing or the other, single player or multiplayer, obviously I want Naughty Dog to make single player games, so I'm not too upset about it.
Right behind you.
What is this, Red Dead Redemption 2?
No, it's the better one, Red Dead Redemption 1.
With Jesse? No. Been together for so long. Look, Jesse's great. I love his parents. They will
Yeah, the
always be
environments in this
family,
game are
but
just
we
beautiful.
were just on autopilot. Hey, how come we never talked
That's
about
another
this
thing I
stuff?
want to see in the show is one of
I
their
don't know.
movie nights at
Didn't feel-
Jackson. I mean, we actually got one in season 1,
You never really
but
talked to me
I'd
about
love to
Kat.
see Joel and Ellie watching
this-
one of their stupid
There
movies.
isn't much to talk about.
Yes, I need that in my life.
I got the impression that you didn't really like her. I don't
It
care
would be
about her
great
being
if they wouldn't spend the money for it,
Okay.
but if they could get the rights to play some of Jurassic
she's a
Park
talented artist.
and show them
She
watching
like
it,
the tattoo
since I'll get
artist.
referenced later.
Well, that's so big of you.
What studio owns
Maybe
that
she wasn't
movie?
right for you.
Well, Jurassic
That'd
Park's
be
Universal.
Universal.
Shut up. Okay.
I don't. It came to me like as soon as I said it, it's like, wait a minute.
You can tie Shimmer up here.
What if they watch like the first Lord of the Rings or something? That'd be funny.
That'd be cool.
Hey. You want to see something spectacular? You're gonna point at your face.
Yeah, what's like an old cheesy action movie?
Nothing is that spectacular.
Like maybe Commando.
brother.
Just Joel and Ellie watching Commando.
Yes.
It's a shame Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson have already been in the show, because obviously in the games there are these stupid like made up fictional movies that they're fans of. But imagine if they played one of those movies in the show and they got Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson to like do like some fake movie scenes.
Honestly,
awesome.
I'd be fine if they did that anyway.
Sure.
Who cares?
I think a way to include them in season 2 without being on screen and with Ashley Johnson, it would be a lot more justified just in the context of the show, is if we just got some songs during the end credits of some episodes sung by them. Like maybe songs you haven't heard them sing before. But like if you pick the right episode, Ashley Johnson would make sense since in the context of the show, she's Ellie's mom and was singing to her in one scene. So like I think that would fit beautifully if you just pick the right song in the right episode to like
Who do you used to do this
just
route with?
have Ashley Johnson singing something. But there are also songs that we absolutely need Pedro and Bella
Eugene.
singing. Like I'm really hoping we get that scene of Bella singing
Oh, yeah.
"Take on Me" in season 2. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
May we all be that sharp at 73. May we all make it to 73.
Like if they got Troy Baker to sing a song, it should probably be something in his normal voice, because if it's like Troy Baker doing his Joel voice singing something in the show, that could be distracting.
Wait. I'm just like being paranoid, double checking and everything, even though I don't really need to.
Yeah, this game definitely has a pacing issue that the first one doesn't, because there's a lot. I think there's too much looting or opportunities for looting in this game, and it gets kind of boring. But you're also like just too. You're too paranoid. It's like I have to check everything, and boy, it takes a while in some places.
Yeah, that's fair.
On replaying it with the new game plus, it isn't an issue at all, because I can just start with everything I unlocked, and it plays way faster. And it's nice to have all those weapons and stuff up front. But on your first playthrough, yeah, it is a bummer when you finally get like a good set of weapons and ammo and stuff, and then it's all taken away from you when we switch to Addy. Like, yeah, that can be frustrating.
No sign of infected or non-infected.
I am surprised they didn't add some of these new gameplay mechanics to the Part 1 remake, like going prone and stuff, but it might have broken the game. Like, I get why they didn't.
It also, I don't know, those mechanics make more sense when you're playing as Ellie and Abby. I don't see Joel as a prone kind of guy.
Yeah, bad knees.
Yeah, he's like 50.
Town up ahead's our last stop. Take a look. I see a strip mall.
Oh, with the supermarket? No, town's past that.
There's the town.
And this is also
Big town
why
thing?
it probably makes sense to
That's where
not
the
be
next
playing
lookout
as
is.
Joel with Tommy early on, is just because we would probably be in some of the same locations, and you don't want to retread that with Dina and Ellie. But like I said, it could have been nice to get just a little bit more Joel up front. Because I remember on first playthrough when he died, I was just thinking like, we didn't even get one scene with them 4 years later. I would have liked one scene with them. And then I just remember thinking like, God, I hope there's flashbacks. And then there are. And by the end of the game, I was pretty satisfied. You just got to see it through.
Question.
I have to finish the story.
They're clean.
Yep.
That was a wrestling reference.
Uh,
I am a big. I've recently gotten back into it, but I used to be a big WWE fan, and I've discovered I still like it when it's actually good.
Come on.
Whoops. Hey, get on the horse, Ellie. Thank you.
I think we should go out like Eugene.
From a stroke?
No, from old age. Like living a long life.
You? No way. Come on. You're way too reckless.
so going back to Troy Baker, are you an Indiana Jones fan by any chance?
You'll probably
Uh, they're okay. I'll play the game,
Wearing boots today.
but
So you've seen the trailer?
yeah, I didn't realize that was Troy.
Near the end, I recognized him. At first, I was like, this guy's doing a pretty good Harrison Ford impression. And by the I just know Troy Baker's voice so well
Fuck you.
after all these years that by the end, I was like, oh, that is definitely Troy Baker. I think he's doing an okay job.
Well, you know, now he's done Hansel. God damn it, he's done Indiana Jones and the Joker. He's got 2/3 of the original Star Wars trilogy cast down.
That's a good point.
He can voice all 3 of them in the next Star Wars game.
Sure. Yeah, Arkham Origins and The Last of Us in 2013 were like the 1-2 punch that made me a massive Troy Baker fan. I was like, holy crap, this guy's amazing.
I recently just finished replaying that.
Oh, nice. I played the Cold Heart DLC for the first time, and I had a fun time with it.
I've got to play that. I have it on PC, so I played it all on my Steam Deck. It ran really well.
So, do you have an Xbox as well?
No, I have a PS5 and a PC and a Steam Deck.
Yeah, I thought the new Indiana Jones game was Xbox exclusive, unless that's also on PC or
It's also
Steam Deck.
every piece. So every Xbox game or Microsoft game is also on PC. And then if you buy a game on Steam, it's in your Steam Deck library because it's using your Steam profile.
Looks like Infected did this.
Hey, look, dinner.
How many do you think it would take to bring down a moose?
Well, I still need to get a PS5, so I'm probably never gonna get to play that Indiana Jones game.
Let's go find out.
And it's okay.
And,
You have
well, and
Uncharted.
also, that's true. And the trailer didn't do much for me. I shouldn't have been surprised, but when the trailer confirmed that it was going to be a first person, that kind of killed my interest in it. I was like, oh, I think this looks kind of awkward. I'm not.
So it's
super
going to be a
jazzed for it first
hybrid.
person.
It's only going to be
Okay.
first person in some sections. I forget what the split's going to be. But it's going to be a first person and third person game.
This way.
Because I've heard the argument for it being, well, if it was third person, it'd be too derivative of Uncharted or Lara Croft. And I'm like, I don't care. I like those games. I just want a fun Indiana Jones game.
Yeah, I know our very own The Day Ghost is super hyped for that, but he's a massive Indiana Jones fan.
Alright.
It'll be on Game Pass. I'll cap a subscription to Game Pass and run through it.
Let's see if we can get around
Well, I hope he enjoys it. Like I said, I'm probably never going to get to play it, but it was this weird thing of being crushingly disappointed when I found out it wasn't going to be on PlayStation. But then I watched the gameplay trailer, and it didn't do a lot for me, so I don't feel like I'm missing much. But I hope he enjoys it, because like I said, I'm a massive Indiana Jones fan too. So for people who get to play it, I hope they enjoy it.
Yeah. I think it'll be pretty good. It won't be... My game of the year will come out next month when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out. Shit.
Nice. Well, and then in a year or two, we'll get Grand Theft Auto 6, and it'll be massive.
You good? Yeah.
I don't like Grand Theft Auto. I think they're kind of boring.
I had a blast with the 5th one. I think it's a lot of fun.
The only two Rockstar games that I've ever played that like I was hooked on is the first Red Dead Redemption and Bully.
Yeah, my friend was a big fan of Red Dead Redemption, and he liked the second one, but I don't think he ever finished it. It was just too
Dude's
big.
problem is that it's too big. I'm so fucking sick of these like 100-hour open world games that don't justify being 100-hour open world games. And they trade fun, in my opinion, for realism. To the point where, in my opinion, it's more annoying to play because I have to worry about, am I too far away from my horse? Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Have I bathed recently?
Yeah, the only game like that I've gotten really that into, that I put hundreds of hours into, was Metal Gear Solid 5.
I've never played that. I've never played any of those. I want to grab that like remaster that they did at some point. I've been playing Death Stranding, and it's surprisingly really fun.
That's cool. I started it. I need to get back to it, but it's been a couple years, so I'll probably just start over.
I would advise starting over, and keep in mind it takes a while to get going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've played all the Metal Gear. Like, I was a big fan of Metal Gear growing up, and the 5th one's the first one that's like an open world game. The rest are purely linear story, but I can see them being hard to get into if you're not like a kid or a teenager.
All I know about the 5th one is it had a super troubled development, and it's basically like an unfinished game.
It is, but that's kind of the advantage of it being an open world experience, is just that you still get hundreds of hours out of it.
True. I didn't think he was going to turn around. Also, one thing I like about playing as Ellie and Abby to a degree is you no longer have to worry about shivs. You have an infinite shiv.
True.
Dude, they remade the shiv model in the remake of Part 1, and it looks brutal. It's like a piece of rebar with like cloth tied around it.
Looks like it.
Ugh.
It's like, oh, you're shoving that into people's neck?
Let's keep circling the building. There's gotta be a way in.
Yeah, we didn't get shivs in the show, but we did get Joel stabbing a guy in the neck with a kitchen knife, and I thought that was pretty brutal and satisfying.
Well, yeah, you have to have infected in the show to have shivs.
We see Ellie stab a couple with her knife.
I don't see anything else worth grabbing.
By far, the most annoying thing for me about looting is every time you're like, "Ooh, I found something." Oh, it's just a brick or a bottle.
Well, in this game, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on. You can actually turn on. Where is it? There's an enhanced listen mode, and you can turn it up to maximum. So when you put on listen, it'll pan out and tell you where things are.
Oh,
so, like, see how those white circles are there?
Just give me a second. The lag is pretty bad.
Like, just that you're behind, or is it actually lagging?
Oh, no, it's playing fine. Just behind myself a second. Okay, now I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, you can actually see where... I wasn't gonna turn it on because I'm not worried about collectibles, but I don't want to miss out on any resources.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one thing that I love about these games is that for the majority of them, you can kind of just play it however you want, either stealthily or just guns a-blazing. That is one thing I really appreciate about both of these is, like, if you have no ammo and are just completely dry on resources, the game will give some back to you fairly quickly, and it's still possible to get through every section. You just have to be really good at stuff.
I beat the remaster of Part 1 on Survivor difficulty. That was not fun.
Look, see? All right, let's figure out how to get.
Because that's one thing that I don't love about the Arkham games that I kind of wish they had figured out by Arkham Knight is just the way that the game is so split up between brawling sections and stealth sections. Like, they should be more mixed by that point, in my opinion.
Under here.
Well, there's a lot of things they didn't figure out with in that game.
Yeah. And I'm curious what you think about this as a considerably more hardcore gamer than I am. When it comes to big franchise IPs like Batman or Spider-Man, when a sequel comes out, like if they get it right, if they get a game right, like Arkham Asylum,
Are you clean?
I'm not necessarily asking for the sequel to have to rebuild everything from the ground up and reinvent the wheel. Like, if they just made like 5 more Arkham games where it's just the same map from Arkham Knight, but just telling new stories with different villains and different boss fights, that would be enough for me. I don't need every big sequel to a big game like that. Like, okay, now we gotta rebuild all of Gotham City and we gotta refigure out everything. I'm like, I'm. That's why I didn't mind the Miles Morales game, because I'm like, yeah, I kind of want more games like this, assuming they're cheaper. Is just, yeah, just give me the same world and mechanics. Just give me a new story. Like, I don't need every massive sequel to be a huge leap forward or anything. Like, do you agree? Disagree?
Not sure.
No, I'm mostly in agreement. Just kind of refine what's already there. Like, I know a lot of people were like upset that Spider-Man 2 wasn't some massive, you know, from the ground up, like, oh, it's so much different than the first one. I liked Miles Morales for what it was. I just don't care about Miles. So I was like, that's fine.
And I still haven't played Spider-Man 2. I haven't been able to, but like, I've never understood that complaint. I'm like, I think the gameplay's solid. I'm just there for a new story.
The main thing I like from a sequel is quality of life upgrades. Like from Last of Us Part 1 to 2, being able to go prone, being able to sprint faster.
Yeah.
This game way better fucking crafting UI.
Yeah, and I actually like the crafting in the first game.
I do too. I just mean the UI in that one's a little clunky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I remember what we had to do.
Yeah, you have to get on.
But yeah, no, I don't need every sequel to reinvent the wheel. I think that's insane to expect.
And in my opinion, it's kind of a waste of time and money because I forget. Did Arkham Origins get to use like any
Arkham
of
Origins
from
recycles City? Yeah.
I'm in.
Okay, and I think that's fine. Like I've never had an issue with that.
The only time I take an issue with it is if so, like, say you have the first game is on like the PS3, and then the second game is on like the PS4. At that point, I do expect some kind of evolution.
Sure.
And if you're like going for a while, like the Assassin's Creed games, part of the reason those fizzled out is they released the same game for like 6 years in a row. At some point, you do have to change things up,
or just release them not as so frequently. Call of Duty, those properties.
Well, and that was the other thing with Assassin's Creed is they were coming out yearly, and it was you could tell it was like actively hurting the development. It's like, how much of this can we reuse to get to the next release?
Remember,
I
don't want to have to shoot you in the
and in the case of The Last of Us 2, I think the sequel succeeds in that, you know, it's 7 years after the first one, and we're in new locations and meeting new characters. Like, it is.
No, this is everything
In
a
every sense, a new game.
cross-generational sequel should be.
Yeah, it is a new game, top to bottom.
This part of the supermarket?
But the gameplay mechanics are
No,
they carry over enough.
I think we're above it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's get to the ground floor.
I'm not gonna rely on that mechanic that much. That mechanic that much, but every once in a while, just to see if I've missed anything. Excuse me, Dana. Also, the best thing about this is the AI being smarter. The funniest thing about like The Last of Us remastered is how the AI could just run in front of a clicker and it would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie, Ellie or like Tess could just run in front of a clicker and it's fine.
Or they're like next to a shelf instead of behind it, that people just can't see them.
Was it say July 2013? Yeah, so 0713.
I don't remember what safe it was. I just remember there was one where I just could not for the life of me get the number right. It took me forever to figure out where it's like I had the number. I was just like, what am I putting in wrong?
We did it.
This game though is a lot more forgiving when it comes to the saves. Like they're really not hard to find the combos for. It's like, oh, it's in the next room.
Well, yeah, like the first one, at least with this one, you can also just guess. On the first one, at least on the PS4 version, you couldn't even interact with it unless you had the. We'll go ahead and take that. Unless you had the note with the combination, and then you just put it in automatically.
Yeah, every freaking time I play the first game, I get all the safes, but I usually miss the one in Billstown because I always pass it.
Funnily enough, the Part 1 remaster does actually take a lot of the systems from this one and like backpedal them. Like they changed the safes to be this, the gun crafting is this, etc.
Yeah, I noticed that they're a lot more consistent. It makes you wonder if they make a third game, if they keep everything exactly the same, or if they do something a little different with the menus.
I imagine they'll keep it they'll keep with this. I feel like they kind of agreed this is how these games should look.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that is cool about the Part 1 remake, is just that you do get more of that fidelity and connective tissue between the two games. You know, they don't feel as distinct from different systems.
Why did you hesitate, Dina? Just shoot the fucking thing. Oh boy.
Fucking clickers. Here we go. Extra quiet.
Where'd the other one go? It's all the way over there. Lovely. You don't hear me? You don't hear me? You don't hear me? Gotcha.
Got him.
Ha! Got him.
Those blind motherfuckers make my skin crawl.
And I also wonder if we get a third game, if it'll be, because the rumor is that currently that Naughty Dog is working on 2 separate projects right now, 2 single-player games, and that one is probably Last of Us 3. My guess would be one of them will be like at the end of PS5, and one of them will be at the beginning of PSX, and it makes me wonder which one will be which.
Yeah, they typically release like one game at the end of the generation now. But with this generation being so screwed over by COVID, they may end up extending this console generation.
For sure.
I think if we do get a third one, though, that will be like the finale. They'll want to do a trilogy
Yes.
and then move on. Because one thing I will commend Naughty Dog amongst their peers, they do not hold on to franchises. Like, when they're done with something, they are done.
I'll take a present.
Yeah, I definitely want a third one, but I want it to be the ending. And also, it's equally important for them to do something new, because it's been a while. So I just think if we get a Last of Us 3, I want to get it sooner rather than later. I would rather get the Last of Us 3 first, and then we can launch the PlayStation 6 with something that's brand new.
Well, you want to hear something? You want to hear something crazy that just popped into my head? You know when the last time Naughty Dog released a new IP was?
Well, if we're saying Last of Us, like, that's over 10 years, right?
It's 11 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
Part of that is because they only shipped one new game on PS4. No, wait, 2. Sorry. For some reason, so they only shipped like 2 games this last generation.
Yeah, it's true. Uncharted 4 in this.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I had like a brain fart where I forgot that this came out on the PS4.
Well, it was near the end of it.
Yeah, which is why it didn't surprise me that there was a remaster. People were speculating that before the game even came out.
Were you disappointed that when this game came out that it didn't get any DLC? Like, not even an extra little story mission?
Kind of, because I really like Left Behind. But at the same... Yeah, I don't know.
I get why they did it, just because this game is so massive. It's like 3 times bigger than the last one, so... I mean, you get plenty of story here, but something bonus would be nice. Especially since there was no multiplayer, like the first game had.
Yeah.
I think
there's also no, like, clear point of, like, this is where you could do extra story like there is in the first one.
Yeah. Like a flashback story with Joel and Tommy could have been cool.
Yeah, but you could just do, like, one of those Miles Morales-sized games for that.
I just think it's too late for that. I don't want much more. Now that Joel's dead, it feels like that's kind of too late.
You know what?
Like,
I just realized I'm dumb. They did do a third PS4 game because they did that Lost Legacy game.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's definitely comparable to, like, Miles Morales in terms of size. The difference is that was just DLC for Uncharted 4 that just kind of expanded into its own game.
Well, but I mean, you can make that same argument that that's what Miles Morales was.
Yeah, sure.
But no, like, yeah, I mean, it's a smaller AAA game, but it's still like a full game that they launched. I forgot about it.
I still haven't played it. I want to.
Right.
I have it. I just never got around to it. But yeah,
it's all right. For me, it's the biggest problem with it is just like what I care about in those Uncharted games is Nathan Drake.
Are they still moving?
So an Uncharted without Nathan Drake is just like, fine.
I mean, I like Chloe. So.
You know what?
Chloe!
Impressed with us. Yeah. Man, the guys are not going to believe our numbers.
Yeah, for a long time, I felt weird saying that Uncharted 4 was my favorite, just because it felt kind of blasphemous, but it probably is the best of them. Like, that was so much better than we thought it might be.
It's the best gameplay-wise. I think for a full package,
Hurl me up through that
2
hole.
is still the best one.
2 is great. It's always been my go-to as the favorite. But if you're there for story, like, man, like 2 has a good story, but 4 has a really good one.
See, my problem with 4 stories, it's also retconny and retroactive. I hate that whole, oh, we're 4 games in, but here's this sibling you didn't know he had until just now.
Oh, I'm 100% with you there. It took me a long time to be convinced and to roll with that. But once I did, I was like, yeah, like my favorite stuff with Nathan and Elena is in that 4th
Cable
game.
here.
And yeah, it's a massive retcon, but in the context of the game, I think it works fine. I agree with you that it comes way too late, but I think it works shockingly well, and that's a big uphill climb.
Get over.
That's fair.
And I think they make it work well enough.
And without Uncharted 4, we wouldn't have these top tier rope mechanics.
There I go.
Yeah, this place I got stuck on first playthrough. I was like, where am I supposed to go?
Same.
I don't know when to offer gameplay advice or not, just because you are several seconds ahead of me, so I'm never sure like where exactly you're at or if you're stuck on anything.
I'll say something if I'm stuck. I'll take that alcohol, thank you. I haven't even had to use my rifle once.
I also
Whoops.
don't think it's... I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that their next big remake project is putting out a remake of the first 3 Uncharted games for PS5.
I don't think so, because they just did the Nathan Drake collection.
Yeah, but that was several years ago, right? Like, and that was just a standard remaster. That wasn't a ground-up remake.
Yeah, it was just a standard remaster. Well, and the thing to keep in mind as well is that, like, as far as I recall,
How far are we from
The Last of Us Part 1, the full remake, that was more of a Sony thing than it was a Naughty Dog thing.
Sure. That's a good point. It could be something that Naughty Dog's just not interested in. But obviously with Uncharted 1, I mean, there's a lot more to improve on both graphically
God,
and
Uncharted
gameplay
1
wise.
is rough. I replayed that before the PS5 version of 4 and Lost Legacy came out. It is rough.
Oh yeah, I still think it's fun, but it's got problems.
This is getting worse.
It's better than 3 still, but
We're almost there.
Yeah, and I like 3. I think 3's fine. It's
3
just
just feels tired.
I know, girl. I know.
my biggest hang-up with 3 story-wise is
Gina, how
my
about
favorite thing
Tyler?
about the second game is early on, there's no Elena, there's this new character, Chloe. It's like, okay, we're doing an Indiana Jones, James Bond thing where this is a completely disconnected story with new supporting characters besides Sully. And then it just completely pulls the rug out from under you when Elena shows up, and it just changes the entire course of the story of that game. And then
Yeah,
you get
for
to the
sure.
third, and then you get to the third one, and we just repeat that again. Like, oh no, Nathan and Elena broke up again, and we're gonna go through the same motions again. That's what feels tired to me about the third one, where it's like, we're doing this again. And that's why I love the fourth one, just because you actually get to spend time with them married, you know, as a couple.
Well, that's part of what goes into what I was saying is by 3 just kind of feels tired.
I'll get the door.
Well,
4
and
feels
that's
like
when,
they actually wanted to make it.
yeah, and that distance between games helped a lot, just because there was more build up and you had more of that noticeable improvement. And
They were
that's when
probably also able to do something a little different, not being shackled to the PS3 architecture.
Yeah, for sure. And that was the last time where they had 2 projects going on at the same time. Uncharted 3, and then their new IP, which would be The Last of Us. And clearly, late into production, clearly more of the time and effort went into The Last of Us over Uncharted 3. Like you can just tell that kind of became.
And it paid
Where
off.
Yeah, and it worked. I'm not complaining.
What's going on here?
Give me them weapon parts.
All this electronic stuff? This has to be Eugene's.
Are you sure?
Yeah, nobody else would tinker with this shit.
Huh.
Hey, a firefly pendant.
Definitely Eugene's place.
They're the good guys. That's one thing that I love about just the lore and the expansion of the world of this game. It's like, oh yeah, like every QZ has like its own version of the Fireflies. Like that's what the Washington Liberation Front are. You know, it makes the Fireflies just feel so much smaller, and it's just like, oh yeah, this just goes on everywhere. Like they're not like this special prophetic thing that, you know, the first, like in the first game, it feels like the whole world revolves around them, and it's like, nah, it just doesn't.
Killed 3 soldiers and 2 civilians.
Jesus.
And this character Eugene is someone I hope we get to see in the show.
They should get Cheech to play him.
He could do worse. He and Joel.
Like this subplot with Ellie and Dina here would definitely be weird in the show if it was with a character we've never met before. You know, we learned about him through their exposition in the game, but it would be great to actually see him and get to know him. You know, leading up to this moment.
Well, that's the stuff you could do if you do like a season in between 1 and 2, the 1 and 2 adaptations, where it's just like, here's all the stuff they got up to Jackson leading up to the events of 2.
Yeah, like another thing I want to see is just what that conversation with Tommy's wife Maria was like. Just telling her about Ellie's immunity and what happened with the Fireflies. Because like there's a lot of stuff that's just implied that you can see on screen in the show, like when they decide to give Ellie that chemical burn to cover the bite.
Well, and Maria in the show is like a completely different character.
Yeah, so I'm really curious how they'll play with that.
Oh my god.
Because very few people know about Ellie's immunity. Of course, when she tells Dina coming up, Dina doesn't believe it. And I know some people were confused about that. Like, well, why are they keeping that secret? It's like, all it takes is one nut job in Jackson to hear that and think, oh no, she ain't immune. She'll turn eventually. I gotta kill her. Like, that is not information that you want public.
Tell me that that Cheech could not play this role.
Yeah, there's definitely an opportunity with the show to introduce a lot more of like the people in Jackson and flesh them out. So far, they're sticking to the game with Dina and Jesse, and that's great. I'm really curious about casting. And casting announcements are weird because I don't know if you remember, but when we got that initial list of like 7 or 8 cast members for the show, Sam and Henry weren't included. So like for a long time, I had wondered, like, are they just going to cut those characters out of the show? Because it wasn't until like up until the show we even knew who were playing those characters. So we can't even.
Yeah, Zed. I think.
I
get them mixed up. Well, the guy in this, that when we meet him, he's died of a stroke of old age.
A good point.
Jeff Bridges should play that guy. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. Or like get Kurt Russell.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be that old to get a stroke, you know.
Well, but they say that he dies of old age.
Yeah. And that would be some good drama for the show. Just have a character we get to like who just, you know, dies of natural causes like that. Especially
and then he just
since
fucking died.
There's more stuff.
Yeah. Especially since I don't know if you remember this, but that's one thing cut out of Left Behind in the show from the game. Is in the game there's like that person that Ellie and Riley knew who died. I don't remember how he died, but it's very similar to this, where they find his alcohol, like his stash. I don't remember the guy's name, but it's someone you never get to meet that they just talk about who had recently died. So it's a very similar setup to the sequence in this show with this Eugene guy. So all the more reason, I think, to include it in the show and actually introduce and expand on the character.
I'll get there eventually. I'm going through it on PC right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the Left Behind episode is a very close adaptation to that DLC. That's just one of like the
It's one of my favorite
that was cut.
episodes.
Yeah, it's like a perfect adaptation of that section.
It's what they think episode 3 is.
Well, they're doing different things. I like those.
No, fuck you.
Oh my god. It's weed. That's a lot of dead weed.
This explains a lot.
See what I'm... This is just more evidence that either Cheech or Chong, I can't remember which is which, should play this character.
Oh, there we go.
You think it's still good?
Does weed?
Yeah, I remember this scene with Ellie and Dina coming up is one of the scenes in the trailers where if you go back to the trailer, like the background and setting is completely different.
You having a hard time?
And their outfits are different just because, you know, they didn't
Fuck. Give me that.
want
Oh,
anyone.
like you're gonna get it.
They were trying to throw people off with plot details. Because with those early trailers, they really wanted you to think that, oh, this Dina character is going to die early on, and that's what Ellie wants revenge for. And it wasn't until release where I was like, wait a minute. Maybe that's not the case.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, okay. Zed, thank you. Chong is who I'm thinking of. It's because he's in that 70s show and he's great.
Yeah, that's what I know. That's what I think of him from, is that 70s show.
I love him in that 70s show.
I mean,
What's the problem, Ossifer?
gonna be stuck here a while, right?
Totally trapped.
Smoking weed in 4K.
Can I ask you a question?
I don't know, can you?
And what's the new gameplay thing called? Is it called No Return?
Yes.
One being
Yeah, that's just a really fun, nice extra thing to have that I really appreciate. Just because, like I said,
Ooh, I
on the
fall.
one hand, the story of this game is massive. It's so much bigger than the first one, so you definitely get plenty, but it's also all you get. You don't get any fun bonus stuff. And if I'm going to nitpick the release of this game,
Why are we still talking about this?
the build up to it, I don't know if you care at all about like supplemental stuff, but just given that there was 7 years between the two games, there was kind of a missed opportunity, in my opinion, to do like a tie-in comic that was just like an extra Joel story or some books, like something, even if you don't read that stuff, like, because the first game had Left Behind and it also had the American Dreams comic, which was what introduced Riley. And now it feels like it's too late. It just, I do think opportunities were missed to just put a couple other fun things out, like in the build up to the
It's a
second.
solid 6.
Okay.
There are a lot of people around.
Yeah, but 6.
And I still wish we got a novelization, like an official
I mean,
book
now I really wanna
novelization
know how
of
you
that
rate it.
first game before the show came out.
I
It's
miss
one of those things that-
novelizations.
Yeah, and that game would just play so
Well,
well.
and it's
Like, I know
weird
there,
because we actually do some like game novelizations.
Yeah,
God of War 2018 has one.
Mhm.
You make me want to go back outside.
Yeah, that I wish we had gotten that out before the show. It just would have given that story more exposure to people who don't play games. It's the type of thing they probably won't make now. Plus, they could have gotten Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson to do the audiobook, and that would have been great. So like I said, that's just a nitpick I have with the release of this game. Is just that this is all you get, and we hope you like it. But in the 7 years lead up, like once the game was announced, it's like I think we could have gotten some things, like comics or books or whatever, like in the build up to it. I do think there were a couple of missed opportunities there. And like we were saying earlier with Ellie and Dina, you know, we're talking about like this thing that happened last night that we had already seen in the trailer. I remember playing this game and for a long time thinking like, is that a scene that was just cut? Are we not going to get that? Because that flashback comes so late. It's kind of surprising that's one of the first things we saw from it.
Time to run.
And in this action scene coming up with Abby and Joel and Tommy, I also think it would have been kind of cool if we got to switch perspective and play as Joel for this little action sequence coming up. But it is really cool to have big fight scenes like this with Joel as an ally, just since that's something we never got to see in the first game, since when you do play as Ellie, it's always like so separate from Joel. And we also get that with one of the flashbacks later on with Joel and Ellie. It's just really cool to be playing and having Joel as your buddy, like fighting infected with you. It's kind of surreal. No.
Wait.
Wait.
Shit, this is where I came from. Where the fuck am I going?
You're on your own, bro.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, jeez.
And there's the first death.
Ah, you spoiled it. Just like
it's fine.
Right
It's fine. It was at the beginning of the chapter.
Running. Yeah, I am way behind. Like, there haven't been any lagging issues. It's just at least a 20-second difference, maybe more. And Abby's dead. I also think the scenes we get with Joel in the prologue are really good. And just great stuff that you get up front. Like, I get being disappointed or whatever about Joel being taken out early, but, you know, it is a couple hours into the game. Like, it's not like it happens in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, because we're almost 2 hours in. And we're probably not going to get to it tonight. Actually, that might be where we end up ending. Wouldn't that be a bitter...
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck.
Just run forward. Always forward.
I don't know where forward is, and that's the problem. I'm gonna die again. How do I not remember this? Yep.
Yeah, there's the gate you have to get behind to squeeze through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at least it's not the worst place to be stuck at.
True.
Whenever you play the first game, do you ever get stuck in the hospital at the end trying to leave with Ellie? Have you ever gotten shot and killed in that section?
Maybe on my Survivor difficulty playthrough back in the day.
Yeah, it's really not that hard once you know where you're going. But on on my first couple playthroughs of that game, I would get shot at least once. I'm like, dang it. It just completely sucks you out of the moment and the emotion, because it's such a beautiful sequence with Joel carrying Ellie and the music's kicking in, and when you get shot, it just totally takes you out of it. Like, whoops, I screwed that up.
Oh, I see it. Can't believe I missed that.
Do you see it?
That's fair. I'm just kind of used to it as a person who's put an ungodly amount of time into Resident Evil 4. That's another game I need to replay, but I put so much time into getting the platinum that I kind of burnt myself out on it. Get off me!
Like, so there's just a really cool sequence to have Joel, like, as a companion, like, doing a lot of fighting. He gets a couple of really badass moments. Would you have liked to have played as Joel in this scene, or do you think the scene works fine playing as Abby?
If we have the Abby section earlier, this is fine. But I honestly think what they could have done to kind of clean this up a little bit is you play as Joel from the prologue up until you get to the cabin, and then the cutscene happens, and then you're playing as Ellie.
Okay, that could work.
And it would have kind of paralleled where, like, you play as Joel most of the game in the first one, but then he gets injured and you have to take over as Abby, or as Ellie. Fear me, I have a pipe. Coming.
I think it's really cool that they added this Joel skin to part 1. I love his long hair.
Oh, I didn't even know that they did that. I don't typically mess with the costumes in these games.
It wasn't until, like, my 4th playthrough of Last of Us where I was like, oh, you can change their outfits. I didn't know you could do that. And I started messing with it. Yeah. My only bummer, as far as I know, this is the only Joel outfit with this game that they added to part 1 as an optional outfit. I really wish we had the outfit from the final flashback of just him in his jacket as well. Because there are obviously some scenes in part 1 where if you have the skin of him in his winter gear, it obviously just doesn't make sense and doesn't work. So, if you're going to have a part 2 skin, I wish they had a couple, and not just this one, but it's fine.
Fine. It's all fine.
Everything's fine here. How are you?
Tommy, hurry up. Whoa.
Oh, jeez.
And I missed.
I hope Pedro's Joel gets the machete in the show, because machetes are cool.
They are. I've seen Friday the 13th. Alright, look. Fine, I'll do it the hard way. Abby, why would you bring so little ammo out on patrol? Like, Jesus.
I know, right?
So I remember when I was first playing this, I streamed I think at least the first bit of it, if not all of it. When you get to the cabin, and there's this musical sting that starts playing, and I had just like, because I didn't look at the spoilers, I didn't want to. I knew I was going to play the game. I wanted to experience it with no biases going in, but I just got this like pit in the bottom of my stomach, like something is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm Tommy. That's Joel.
So one of the big complaints that I've heard about this whole thing with Abby is that Joel would never just go around giving people his name, but he doesn't. It's Tommy that gives them their identities.
We cannot stay here. Horses ain't making it all that way.
My friends are
That's totally true. I also think
fenced in, we have the whole perimeter.
Joel doesn't care. Like, you know, he doesn't know that these are going to be people looking.
Well, so the argument that I've heard is that because in the first one he has survival instincts, and the thing they point to is when the person is in danger in Pittsburgh, he knows it's a trap. That doesn't mean that he would instantly know everything is a trap. And like we just mentioned, he's not the one that tells them their name.
Right, like if that's your complaint, it doesn't hold water.
Tommy is, and we've shown, and it's established in the first part that Tommy is stupid.
When I was 12.
And obviously Joel knows he's taking a risk, but you know, at this point in the story, he would save this stranger's life, and for the last few minutes they've been fighting infected together. You know, it's a gamble, but it's a gamble that's paid off previously. Like for the last 4 years, this is what they've been doing. They've been bringing other survivors into Jackson. You know, this is not the Joel from the start of the first game. Like, at this point in the story, he absolutely would go save this person. And the Blizzard and the Horde is why they take that risk in going with her, with these strangers, which is a mistake. And he knows when it's starting to go down, like, yep, this is it. But it's a mistake I think the circumstances justify.
Right here.
It's also annoying when people say, look at characters from the perspective of the audience. Like, well, I, the audience member, know this, therefore the character should know this. And that's a problem. Like, that's just not true most of the time. Like, that's not a sound argument.
Yeah, it just feels like a bad faith argument to try to prove that the game is bad.
Yeah. Joel didn't hear the musical sting that we heard.
Did you hear that?
He didn't hear the music get creepy.
Yeah.
As far as they know, they just have found another stranger and saved them who would be a new member of Jackson.
What are you doing?
You're supposed to be on patrol.
The people in Jackson in these games also aren't as, like, paranoid about bringing people in as they are in the show, which makes you wonder how they're going to place other stuff in the show.
Well, then why aren't you at the fucking lookout?
Because Tommy and Joel didn't show up.
What do you mean?
We waited for them for an hour. I was looking for their horses when I saw lights.
Maybe they just went back to town without being replaced. No way.
And,
How much of their
I don't, do you know when the behind the scenes, the making of documentary of this game is coming out?
I've heard February.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that. I've only seen clips of the first one for the first game. I've never watched it start to finish, but I've watched tons of interviews. And
Yeah, I definitely want to watch that.
And shortly after the second game came out, Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson were on some podcast with Neil Druckmann and somebody else talking about all the spoilers of the second game. It's like a 2-hour-long podcast, and it's really good. I'd recommend everyone to watch that, whether you like this game or not. Like, if you play that, you should watch that podcast. And I mean, they talk extensively about just how much Troy and Neil debated it and hashed it out and reworked it. Like, it wasn't something done lightly. It was something they spent a lot of time trying to figure out. And, like, Troy talks about how, like, when they're in that room, and the second those characters start surrounding him, he knows, like, this is it. Like, and also, yeah, this is why I was the way I used to be, why I didn't trust people. It's like, all my bad qualities I have shed, I'm reminded why I was the way I was, and this sucks.
I love how many infected we can have on screen now.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Got a Molotov cocktail.
Would you like that in original recipe or extra crispy?
Scared us.
How you guys doing?
We're good. Thanks.
Can I talk to you for
And a sequence that I really hope we get in the second season is Joel and Ellie taking down that bloater. Like, I hope they don't cut that, especially since the bloaters were used so sparingly in season 1. Like, that could be a really awesome big episode somewhere in season 2. Is just having Joel and Ellie take down a bloater together. Like, and I think could compensate for some of the infected stuff that was cut from season 1.
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yep.
What are y'all doing out this way?
Just passing through. You two.
And for anyone saying that, oh, this is contrived, they're now indoors with these strangers. Like, there's a blizzard and a million infected outside.
I'm Mel, by the way.
You know, they're taking
So-
a risk. They're
Okay, hold on.
aware.
Sorry,
Go.
but this
Oh, go
this
for it.
thing right here.
Y'all act like you heard of us or something.
Every time I watch it, it's just there's a pit that forms in the bottom of my stomach.
Yeah, for me, it's when they're like walking in on horseback, where I'm just like, oh no, this isn't gonna go well.
All clear?
He's out. Put him against the wall.
Tommy! Get off me! Get off me!
And I think Joel, like, it's like, look, he just took a shotgun blast to the knee. He's done. This is not anything he can get out.
Yeah.
Joel.
And he still gets a little good moment to shine here. Like, I love his line about, like, whatever speech you have prepared. Like, let's just give it, like, he's still... I still think the character goes out with a degree of integrity.
Yeah, so Grounded 2, The Making of Last of Us Part 2 is coming out on February 2nd. It'll be on YouTube and is part of patch for this game, as well as additional skins for Ellie and Abby.
Oh, nice.
Tourniquet his leg. Do it.
Don't you fucking move.
And I do wonder how they're going to play this in the show, because, you know, they released a lot of concept art and details. Like, we know they worked through various different variations of how this would go down. Like, one version, like, Joel is going to get his hand cut off. There's one piece of concept art, like, with his eye gouged out. Like, I wonder if they're going to do this, like, shot for shot in the show, or if they're going to make it kind of different. Because it's very brutal and uncomfortable, but I don't think it's excessive.
It's
Like,
not excessive at all.
You don't get to rush.
the
this.
only thing that hurts this game, for me, the story stuff more than the first one, is there's just some major beats where it's like, yeah, I've seen this before, or a degree of this before. Like, it makes me wonder if they're going to change how he dies, because in the context of the game, it works fine. But when Abby hits him over the head with the golf club, like, of course I'm thinking of Negan in The Walking Dead. Like, it's hard to do sequences like that in these games without just being reminded of other zombie stories, because I've seen similar situations to this before.
Okay, sure.
And that can be a smidge distracting. And like I said, I do love this game. I think it's fantastic. It's just not nearly as replayable for me as the first one.
Joel!
And the big one that the first one has for me over this one is just how I did not see that ending coming. Like, I could not predict where that first game was going. The only thing I was pretty sure of... The only thing I was pretty sure of, especially after playing the Telltale Walking Dead, is, well, the way these stories work is Joel's probably going to die. And that doesn't happen. That happens in this one.
There it is.
It has to happen in every lone wolf and cub story.
Joel?
Yep.
Tommy?
Where is that coming from?
And yeah, like this sequence is going to be really hard to watch in the show.
Hard to watch now.
Yeah, I've not going to name names, but I've definitely seen a couple reactions to this from Let's Players where it's just so brutal and visceral. Like sometimes you see people cry on camera, like recording to or reacting to movies or shows or whatever, and it comes off kind of phony or whatever, get over it. I saw a couple for this one that were really visceral and hard to watch, and not in a cringy way, just a wow, I feel really bad for this person because they are taking it hard kind of way, you know, because it works, it's effective.
You're gonna fucking die!
But I do think it's really painful and brutal without being too gory or excessive, because you don't see a whole lot.
What did you think anyone was gonna show up?
What the hell did you expect? We gotta get out of here before the whole town's on top of us. You're done.
You want what I want, right?
End it. Now.
And I remember the first time I played this thinking like, oh, I wish Joel had at least like a line here just saying it's okay, like something, just because you get so little of him early on. But then you get all the flashbacks, and obviously that doesn't bother me as much now that they know like what he's thinking about and, you know, the whole context with their relationship. Again, it just makes me wonder like how we're gonna play this stuff in the show, like how much they'll change it. But any optimist out there that's like, well, that was so divisive or controversial, they're just not going to do that. Like, anyone who thinks they're not going to kill Joel in that second season, I think is very foolish, and that's way too optimistic.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because I know some people who like watch the show and are aware of the spoiler that know Joel's going to die, but haven't played the second game for context, that think, well, it's so popular, they're probably not going to kill him. It's like, if you don't kill him, it's going to be a completely different story. And they're not going to do that. So it'll make a lot of people angry. But I do think there is a chance that there are some people who weren't crazy about this game that might get won over by it because of the show, or might prefer the show version. Like, I do think there is that chance that could happen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And it's not that I need the show to be better or different from the game. It's just an opportunity to tell the story in a different way. Not that I need it to be better or fixed or whatever. It's just, you know, they have that opportunity to go a slightly different way.
No, yeah,
but
definitely.
Major plot beats like Joel dying, yeah, I think they're not going to stray from that. I also know from that one interview just how difficult this scene was to shoot for Troy and Ashley. It's like, oh, I can't imagine. That was just something they talked about. Like, that was like by far the most painful thing to get through, and I totally get it.
Could I sit down, please?
Yeah.
And I do like that Tommy gets such an expanded role in this game, because I always forget, like, oh yeah, he's not in the first one that much. In the show, he's in just 2 episodes, so I do like that we get a lot more screen time with him.
Maria wants to make sure you're eating.
And his dynamic with Ellie.
She can't stop us.
To have the guys that we would need to do this smart, we'd be leaving Jackson vulnerable.
So they just get to get away with this?
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, but that's what's happening.
What if we get hit by hunters again?
Is this you talking? Or
One other thing I wanted to ask you about,
It's a valid
if I
point.
could change one thing about the marketing and the
you or
lead up
me,
to the game,
Joel
the
would be
one thing that
halfway
I
to
do
Seattle
think kind of
already.
crossed the line and was a bit
No,
too much of a cheat and it was too manipulative
Would be.
Well, we don't even
was
know for certain that they're
one
from
of
Seattle.
the gameplay
Washington
trailers.
Liberation Front. That's what you
Are you
said.
talking
With
about the
Ellie.
one where they switched Jesse and Joel's character model?
What the WLF
Yes,
moves.
and it's
What are you
Joel
doing?
saying the line. Like, I think that was a bridge too far. I don't think they should have done that.
I'm kind of indifferent.
You know what?
It's just what we do now.
Yeah,
I'm leaving.
we're kind of
tomorrow.
cutting it out, and I appreciate that. I don't think you need to be that manipulative. Because the people that are obsessed with spoilers and knowing everything ahead of time, like,
You have
they're
no
gonna
idea
figure
what
it
you're
out,
walking into.
and the majority of the casual audience
Large
isn't gonna
income
pick up on that
How
stuff.
armed
I don't
Like,
care.
I think if that trailer just ends with Ellie
can't
saying,
talk me
"What
out
are
of
you
this.
doing here?" and we just don't see who he's talking to, and we can just assume, "Oh, that's Joel or some other character." Like, I think you could play that scene that way without like lying to the audience. Like that, I think was a bit. I think that was kind of manipulative, and I'm not a fan of that trend.
To talk to Maria,
Oh, that's fair.
okay?
But like I said, for me, it's a nitpick. I still love the game.
And if she won't budge,
Well, I'll figure something out. One day.
And are you still in the cutscene, or are you walking with Dina yet?
I'm in the cutscene. Once we get out of the cutscene, I'm going to save. We're going to stop it here. We'll then
Okay.
check out the new game mode and then call it a night.
Okay, cool. Sounds fun.
What a place to end it.
And a major point of contention with some people was Tommy not taking Ellie with him. I do not believe for a second he would want that.
No, because he knows that Joel would want her safe.
I don't buy for a second. And he sees her as like a niece, like he's very protective of her. People saying, "Oh, that was stupid." This is what I was getting at earlier. It drives me crazy when a character makes a choice and somebody calls it a plot hole or a mistake because they disagree with the choice the character makes. That's not a plot hole. That's a decision a character makes, and you have to factor in where that character's. And what is it smarter for Tommy to bring Ellie with him? Sure. I don't for a second believe him doing that. I totally buy his letter when he says, "Yeah, lock her up. Like, do what you can." What he doesn't predict is that Maria's like, "Yeah, go, sure." Like, that he does not see coming. But I don't believe for a second he would want to put Ellie in danger like that. So that's a big point of contention that some people had that I could not disagree with more with.
we just have to pick something up.
We're gonna save. Okay, so the game is saved automatically, so we're gonna quit. It is currently safe to quit your permadeath playthrough. Thank you.
All progress lost. No.
Won't be hard to make up. But yeah, if you're enjoying this, I would love to do this more with other games.
Yeah, for sure. I'm having a good time. This one will take a while to get through.
Yeah, we won't start another one until we finish those. And then the community poll that I threw up a while ago, Dead Space 2 won. For anyone who is waiting for that, I will do that after I finish the first season of Telltale's The Walking Dead to give me a little bit of a break before I jump into season 2. No Return is a roguelike survival mode. You will fight through a series. Yeah, I know.
The only thing I don't know about this is this like a only infinite enemy only thing where you eventually die, or is there like missions with like a goal in mind? Like, you did it, you win, or is it purely a non-stop battle royale?
I'm not sure.
It says culminating in a boss fight, so It looks like there's an end point to these.
Oh, you can get a Savage Starlight costume.
Ah, that's great.
Astronaut.
Okay, I'm glad Joel is playable. That's good.
Ah, Death Stranding t-shirt. Destiny.
I wonder why Joel's not unlocked yet. I wonder what you have to do to unlock Joel.
So it looks like you have to play a certain amount of. And so it looks like you have to unlock them in progression or in order. So so it looks like you have to play a certain amount of games with each character.
Okay, I got you.
So we'll start with Ellie. See how far we get. Yeah, I know how to play The Last of Us.
Let's see what we got in here.
And like I said, for the multiplayer game getting canceled, I think this is a decent compromise for anyone looking for that, just to get just pure fun gameplay.
I see how it. So basically, what'll happen is you pick each one, and it has a different enemy encounter type, enemy type, etc., and a score multiplier. But if you die, you come back here with whatever upgrade you picked. You get stronger, and then try again.
Okay.
That's cool. I could sink some time into this one, to be honest.
Yeah, this looks pretty fun. Like, whenever I do get a PlayStation 5 and get this game, like, I don't know if I'll replay the story, like, more than once, but I could definitely see myself putting a lot of hours into this.
Gotta get good, scrub.
No. Oh, about your question earlier. Like I said, I'm definitely enjoying this. This one will take a while. For your Walking Dead streams, I think I'm good just being more passive on that. Like, I'll be in the chat, in the comments when I can. Maybe
That's
for
fine.
like, maybe for one or two, maybe like for the last chapter, I could co-host that one with you and actually like talk about it live. But for beyond that, I'd be fine just being in the chat, watching live whenever I can. For other games, there aren't many, unless we start doing some multiplayer stuff together. Like
Okay.
Dead Space, I've never played Dead Space. I know nothing about Dead Space. I have nothing to contribute that. I look forward to watching some of it. Of you play it for sure, and I think your audience will enjoy that. But yeah, that's a property I know nothing about.
Because I was thinking about redoing. We did some Resident Evil on the channel, or I did. But I was thinking about redoing that. I don't know if you know anything about Resident Evil, but
I've seen quite a bit of like gameplay from it, but I've never played one myself. Yeah, as far as horror games go, The Last of Us like is kind of it for me. Besides like Walking Dead, like I have not played many. That's a genre I haven't, except for multiplayer. Like Evil Dead the game, like I played that. Friday the 13th. When it comes to horror, I've played a lot more multiplayer stuff than I have like story-based things.
okay, I kind of love this. Except I was fucking.
Was awesome.
Except I've been fucking around too much, and now I'm almost dead.
I do miss the nail bombs from the first game. I really love the nail bombs. And I didn't use the trap mines a whole lot playing this, did you?
Nah, on higher difficulties.
But everything with the bow and arrow is pretty awesome.
That was the biggest thing that they fixed in this one that I was so happy about. I hate the bow on the PS3 and 4 version.
It's so janky.
And they made it usable. So I don't know what it is, but in games, I love being able to do archery. It's like my favorite like class. So anytime a game has a bow, I'm like, fuck yeah.
For me, it's flamethrowers. When you get the flamethrower with the first game, I'm like, yes, this is amazing.
I love how absurd that is.
And that's another thing I hope we get in season 2 is Ellie actually learning to use the bow and arrow. And then she hopefully uses it a lot in season 3. That's just another thing they can expand on, since we didn't get any of that in the first season. And one thing we talked about before that, like, the 2 promises Joel makes to Ellie at the end of the first game is he'll teach her how to swim and he'll teach her how to play guitar. And he does both. Swimming is a really big part of that first game. And in the show, it's really just one line early on. It never actually pays off. So that I'd be fine with just being off screen as long as they acknowledge it.
Yeah.
One of the few sequences from the first game that isn't in the first season that I wish was, but I completely get why it was cut just due to budget, is near the end before you get to the Fireflies in the tunnel in the flooded subway. That's, like, for me, the big payoff of Ellie not being able to swim that I wish was kept intact for the show, but that's just a budget thing, and I think it's totally understandable. That's a really expensive set piece to do.
Yeah, they've got guns now.
They fly now?
They fly now.
That'd be amazing if some of them did show up with jetpacks. You're like, what the hell? That's a lot of dead bodies.
That's a lot of dinner, boys. Who you calling friend?
This is also just really cool since you don't actually get an action scene in Jackson in the actual story, so it's just a cool way to use this setting that they built.
Yeah, and there's some lost levels in here that I want to check out too.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I don't know when we'll fit that in. If you want to beat the main story and then, like, as a bonus stream, cover the lost levels stuff. Because I don't know how long it'll take, but I think it's really cool that they included those with commentary.
I will probably, yeah, those will probably be after the main story. Just because I assume they don't fit into the, like, narrative of the game, and it'd be easier just to do them after and see, like, oh, hey, this was cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there was some stuff in Jackson early on that they trimmed. The big one that I know about is there's a sequence after the time skip later on with Ellie and Dina after Dina's baby is born, where there's a whole sequence in, like, the town outside where Ellie's hunting a boar and she's wearing Joel's old jacket, and that's pretty cool. I hope that's as a skin somewhere in this game at least, but it looks like they got really close to finishing that sequence. It looks like it was pretty late in when they cut that.
They wanted me to do that in under 3 minutes.
3 minutes of playtime.
Holy shit. Still
2 hours later. My God.
Alright, we'll run one more. That was short.
Yeah, that looked pretty fun. It always... I think the rating system in the Arkham games, at least the early ones, like, makes no sense and is incredibly inconsistent with your performance. Where I'll do amazing, it gives me a C. It's like, screw you. And then I do awful on a bit later, and it's like, hey, you get a B for that one. I'm like, what?
Yeah, fuck you. You just get a B.
One thing I always joked about with my friend about the Arkham games, like Arkham City, is when you're fighting like wave after wave of enemies and you've defeated like 30, and then you just die at the last second from a cheap shot, and then as you die, one of the guys you over here saying, "Joker was right. That was easy." Just makes you 10 times angrier.
Let's get the rifle.
Yeah.
And then the pistol's going to be the main thing we use. Let's do recoil. Dude, I am going to end up spending so much fucking time on this game mode.
Yeah, looks pretty fun. They should add a minigun. That'd make it perfect.
You know what would, this is one of the rare times I will say this, but you know what would have made this even better? Co-op.
What? Yeah. God, I miss co-op in games. It's either multiplayer or nothing. It's like, just let me play with one buddy. Can't be that much to ask for.
You don't have a... You only have a PS4.
Yeah.
For a while there, I would play Left 4 Dead pretty religiously. And there was a mod that I found that recreates like all of the Resident Evil games within Left 4 Dead.
Nice.
And this will unlock Ellie Dina for us. Alright, so we should look around. I didn't really need that yet.
That's one thing that comes pretty late in the main game that I didn't get to use a whole lot, but is so awesome. Or I guess it's kind of early. The exploding arrows are so cool.
Watch her scars. Quiet. I got your back.
I can't see shit. Dina just scared the shit out of me. I just turn around and see somebody rushing at me. I was like, what the fuck?
They shoot her in the head. Oh, jeez.
So...
And you've done live streams with Austin on Evil Dead the game, right? A while ago.
I don't know if he was with me, but I did stream it when I first got it. In fact, the very first day that I played it, I did a live stream, and I'm pretty sure I ended up going for like 12 hours.
Oh, nice.
I played the fuck out of that game.
If you ever pick that one up again, I'll definitely play that with you, since I do have that one.
I mean, I would be down.
Texas Chainsaw, I don't think we can, because I don't think that's cross-play, unfortunately. And I still need to get that one.
Let me check, because I know it's cross-platform. That run doesn't count, because it was horrible.
That's like when you're playing a game with your friend when you're a kid, and you're like taking turns, and you die in 5 seconds, and you're like, that didn't count. That wasn't my real turn.
Yeah, I mean, that's the rule.
Did you ever play Dead by Daylight? Did you ever get into it?
For a while there religiously, but now I'm just kind of like, this sucks.
I still have fun with it. I go back to it occasionally.
Wait, does that mean I have to do the first level over again?
Rad.
Oh, it changes.
Oh, interesting.
Wait, does that mean I don't have the rifle in?
Well, in one of the menus, I just quickly saw it said 1 out of 2, so I think it has saved some of your progress.
It saved that I did a one run as Ellie.
Okay.
Okay, that's weird. Oh, you must have to use your resources. So any upgrades you get are saved. I guess. Okay. But that is cool that it changes, so it's not like you feel like you're bashing your head against a
Mm-hmm.
to revive the attack. Oh boy. How's this gonna work? Damn, they do not give you much time.
I wonder what weapons they'll add to the third one if we get a third one. Maybe a chainsaw.
That would be amazing. Everything would be better with a chainsaw. Okay, so I have to survive for a minute. That shouldn't be that hard.
Blam. Dead.
Wait.
Yeah, the AI is a lot better in this one than the first one, but occasionally they still have... These people just have awful peripheral vision. Just the worst.
Shit, that one's getting close. That one's getting close. Come on, Ellie. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. That was fast. Oh. And we got a trophy. Nice. PlayStation seems to really be doubling down on these roguelikes, because God of War also just got one.
Oh, nice.
Hey, we unlocked Dina. Unlock, upgrade all for perseverance skill. I didn't upgrade anything. What are you talking about? Okay, so yeah, so now that we've done 2 encounters with Ellie, we have to do 3 with Dina to get Jesse. Interesting.
Well, at least you get to unlock this stuff through gameplay than microtransactions. That's nice.
True. All right, so we're gonna upgrade Ellie.
I do miss being able to unlock stuff through gameplay and not having it in-game currency instead of just, if you want this thing, pay for it. Screw you. I like being rewarded through gameplay.
Hey, the bow. Your favorite. Well, how do I get... I assume I pick up ammo for it? All right, so let's see. Ooh. That's an unknown one, but it has big rewards. That's another hunted with infected. Are you feeling risky, Robert?
It is a sacrifice I am willing to see you make. I am jealous that you have this. This does look pretty fun. I'm glad they added this.
Yeah, this is kind of a brilliant the way to. Oh, Jesse! Okay, so it seemed we are stuck in this parking garage.
Now I can't hear it. Does it sound like they recorded new dialogue for these bits, or does it sound like it's just recycled stuff from the main game?
Okay, now it does open up. There's very little dialogue, so I'm assuming that what is here is probably recycled. You can't hear it.
Well, I'm just watching it on TV on mute, so that it doesn't pick up on my microphone.
That's fair.
I'm just listening to you, so I'm not hearing the game.
Where'd they at, though? One of them almost saw me. Oh, I see him. I'm hunting you now, motherfucker.
Hunter hunted. One of my nitpicks with this game the first time I played it, just because I didn't know where it was going, was the storyline with the Seraphites. They spend a lot of time building up their leader. You learn a lot about her, and I was kind of let down that you never get to meet her. Like, I guess I just missed the dialogue saying that she was dead, and that was the point. Like, I just missed that first time playing her. So I was a little let down that we never got to meet that character, but I get the point of it.
Yeah, it happens.
But if they wanted to make her an actual character in the show, I mean, they could. I'm curious how they'll expand on it. One thing that I really want... Oh, go on.
I feel like that'd be easy enough to do in Abby's section, is just, like, flesh out that war.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be really cool to see Abby meet, what's his name, Isaac, for the first time, the leader of the WLF.
Yeah.
Played amazingly by Jeffrey Wright, who I love in the game. Yeah, it's Jeffrey Wright. He's in like 2 scenes, and that's all he gets.
Okay, I knew he looked familiar.
I recognized his voice immediately. I love Jeffrey Wright. You know, for those who don't know, he just played Commissioner Gordon in The Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman. Yeah, he's great. And that's one where, because he's in so little of the game, I really hope he's in the show and that they just use him if he's available, because that's a character you could obviously use the same actor for, and I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like they did with Marlene in the first one.
I think the only problem with getting him is he's probably going to be busy with all the Reeves Batman stuff.
Yeah, like he's going to be extremely busy, so if they're not able to work it in, then I'd understand if they have to recast.
Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to finish this run, or this round. I'm going to back out. I just want to check out some of the costumes for Dinah and... Fucking dogs!
Aww.
Dinah and Abby, and then we will call it a night. Come here!
For me, that made me really uncomfortable playing this game. I don't enjoy killing dogs. It works, it's effective, but if they make a third one, I hope they dial back on that, because God, do I not enjoy it.
Yeah, that's fair. It never really bothered me, but I know why it would bother some.
Yeah, like it's fake. It's not real, but I don't enjoy it. Whenever I take out the dogs, I try to do it as like stealthily and quickly as possible.
And here's me,
Like,
I
whenever-
just like blast random creatures I find running around.
And obviously, that's not something you need to do a lot in the show, but you do need at least that one sequence of Ellie killing the dog that was at Dina's hideout, because, God, that one's just such a gut punch.
Dina's hideout.
Yeah, at the aquarium. Oh, sorry, I meant Abby.
Oh!
At the aquarium.
Okay. No, I was like,
like
wait a minute.
Yeah. That's like a big moment that I think you need to keep in the show.
Yeah.
But if you have Ellie killing dogs in every episode, yeah, that's going to turn off some viewers.
True. Stephen King once said, you can kill off people all you want, but the minute you do something to an animal.
Yeah. Yeah, because people suck. You can kill all the people you want. I always go to the Joe Bob Briggs quote, reviewing the Friday 13th movies or Halloween, where he's like, yeah, you can kill all the people you want, but you don't kill the pet. It makes people upset. And I'm like, I agree.
Hey, we got another trophy.
Nice.
I do like seeing trophies.
Yeah, I'm not like a big trophy collector when it comes to... I mean, I'm such a casual gamer that I appreciate it when I get one, but I'm a completionist when it comes to story and collectibles and stuff. I'm not a complete... But if there's, like, beat all of these mini games on extra hard, like, I'm not that much of a completionist.
Comb this entire area.
Yeah, for me, it just depends on how hard the platinum is.
Yeah, exactly.
And how much I like the game. Got him.
Get him.
I watched that new animated Crisis movie today.
Did it do anything for you?
Not at all.
I wasn't that interested. I'll get to it eventually.
It's just really sad how quickly that whole Tomorrowverse just jumped the chart.
It came and went. Like, Warworld looked interesting, but I didn't watch it, and I have not heard good things.
So I've seen them all at this point. The only ones that I would recommend is Man of Tomorrow, which was the first one, and the Long Halloween two-parter.
Yeah, I've seen those, and I wasn't as high on Man of Tomorrow as most people were. I thought it was okay.
That's fair. This is how fast that whole universe was. Crisis is the end of this universe, right?
Yep.
This is that half the movie is just the Justice League forming.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Because that all happened off screen.
It's really weird that they made Long Halloween part of that universe. Like, it works fine as a standalone piece. It's not, like, distracting or weird. It's just an odd choice.
That is true.
And, yeah. So, look, I haven't seen all of them. I've seen most of them, but I've been with the DC animated movies since they started in, what, like, 2009?
Same.
We might disagree on this. I love DC animation. I've loved DC animation my whole life. But every time I see a comment, which I see a million times of, well, Marvel movies are better than DC movies, but the DC animated movies are always great. Makes me want to throw up a little, because I'm like, no, they're not.
Yeah, no,
they're hit and miss at best. And in my opinion, they peaked like 10 years ago. I've seen some good ones, but it's been a long time since I've like been absolutely in love with them. And I mean, like what you like, I think most of them are at least pretty good. So if you love all these movies, that's awesome. Like the New 52 run, I think was real spotty. Like there were a few good ones in there, but most of them were not very good. And the Tomorrowverse, I think, starts okay, and I've kind of dropped off. I'll catch up eventually, but like when I think of my favorites, I think of Under the Red Hood, Dark Knight Returns.
It really
Flashpoint.
peaked with Returns.
Yeah, and that was over 10 years ago, dude.
Shut up. No, it wasn't.
It's just like if this whole line got scrapped entirely, like I wouldn't be that upset about it because I haven't loved one in a while.
Well, I do think part of why this universe is ending so quickly is because James Gunn has already said they're going to be doing animated stuff in his universe. So I assume they don't want two animated universes running around.
Yeah, exactly. And if they keep the line going, just please limit it to one movie a year, two at most, because I think that's really hurt the quality of them in the last decade. Is just doing 3 a year.
Yeah.
In 1 year we got 4. I don't remember what year it was, but there was 1 year where we got 4, I think, and it was like, come on, these are too many. And the animation is just so cheap compared to what it used to be. Like they just don't look as good as they used to. And that's not a subjective nostalgia thing. It's like, nah, there's a big decline in quality, like just animation wise over time. And they really need to pull back on those. It's just weird the handful of stories they haven't done. Like a Nightfall 2-parter makes a lot of sense, and it's weird that they've never done that one.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Did you lose some progress or something?
No, it'll catch up in a minute, but I'm looking at Dina's outfits.
Yeah, Ellie had a couple cool ones.
Well, she gets like 600 of them.
Oh, I see. It's just like
there's like
swaps.
3, and it's just 2 of them are the same almost.
That's one thing that drives me crazy about the newer Mortal Kombat games is you have to sift through hundreds of color swaps just to find the ones that look interesting to you. Like, guys, we do not need this many alternate skins. Dial it back.
Oh shit! Abby gets a siphon filter shirt. Yeah, most of Abby's skins suck. It's also weird. Sorry, but real quick, you could wear the clothes that they are wearing, like in the flashbacks when they're younger, on their older character models, and it's weird.
Yeah, that's jarring. And you couldn't customize the outfits in the first release of the game, right?
Right, and these are only for this game mode.
Okay. Yeah, I think I bought everything I could, like, of the extras in the second game, and then I ran out of points, and, like, I don't know how to get more. Probably just finishing getting all the collectibles, like the coins and cards and stuff, but it's, you know, in the original version of the game, it's just, like, concept art and, you know, those types, and the statues. I think the Ellie astronaut outfit's pretty fun.
Like every gun in one. Interesting. Oh, there's the guitar free play skins. Cause there is.
Yeah, I'm really glad they added the guitar free play feature. I thought that could have been the original game, and I was like, oh, that's so cool if they added that. I think that's fun.
Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. We appreciate it. We will be back. Maybe we'll try to do this again next Thursday and make some story progress. I will probably mess with that game mode on my own time, not to waste stream time. But we'll definitely be back soonish with with more Last of Us 2 story. Robert, as always, pleasure. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.